You are listening to the Social Science KLAI-descope. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Social Science KLAI-descope with your host, KLAI. I'm back to bring you part 2 of the interview with Shivram Viswanathan. But before we get into that, please be sure to follow the podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. If you know anyone out there that is interested in this type of content, be sure to share it as well. And rate 5 stars on Apple Podcasts because that will make me very, very happy. If you haven't already, be sure to check out episode 13 of the podcast, which is part 1 of the interview with Shivram Viswanathan. And without further ado, let's get into part 2. So now I want to actually touch this, and I think this is going to be the biggest portion of today's episode. Is I want to learn more or hear more about your Luce Scholar experience thus far, because, you know, as you described in the intro, it just seems like a very interesting program and a really amazing opportunity, not only to see the world and learn new culture, but also kind of continue your current work as a social science researcher. First of all, I just wanted to ask you, how did you find this scholarship, and what was that, you know, feeling like when you got the announcement that you received the scholarship?
I think I've sort of had my eye on this particular opportunity since like undergrad. You know, like a lot of schools, they have sort of an office of fellowships or distinguished fellowships or something, and Rutgers isn't super different. We have one too, and the director there, Art Queixado, I sort of emailed him while I was working at the Fed as I was applying to graduate schools and saying, like, listen, I'm interested in applying to these several fellowships in addition to graduate school. Some of them were like funding for graduate school, like NSF and like Paula and Daisy Soros fellowships. And some of them were sort of different experiences, like the Gates Cambridge or like the Marshall Scholarship. And the Luce was sort of one of them. The Luce was sort of different because it was not tied to a graduate program. It wasn't tied to sort of studying, but it was just to sort of put you there and immerse you in sort of a situation that may be uncomfortable at times, may be challenging at times, but you're there and you're sort of you're forced to find ways to build community and build a sense of belonging and a sense of confidence in a completely foreign environment. So that was very attractive to me because, you know, I sort of have these like phases in my life where I have intense solitude, where I'm working on stuff that I don't need to go anywhere around. And there's points in my life where I'm like, it's like when you play an RPG video game and you sort of, they're like people that play that are completionists and they have to explore every like little nook and cranny in the whole world. There are times when I'm like that. And so like right now I'm in one of those phases because I'm halfway across the world and I'm like, every day I see a new place in Seoul that I want to go visit, or even just in the Korean countryside. And so I was sort of in that phase, in that mindset that like, oh, I was also applying to PhD programs, and after like 2 years of doing research at the Fed, I was maybe a little bit worried that like, oh, what am I sacrificing by sort of jumping into this career of like a research academic immediately, right? Like there's so much more to life, I feel, than just research and academia. And I had sort of been on the racetrack, I've been on the racetrack for that profession since basically my junior year of high school, or sorry, not high school, college, not high school. That would have been absurd. So like 4 years feels like a long time to be like working towards something, which is, I mean, I'm going to be spending 5 years working towards this PhD. So
Hmm.
let's not try not to think too hard about that. But at the time, it just seemed like a natural thing. Like I was like looking for something to sort of put a little bit of space between my time at the Fed and hopefully it was a PhD program acceptance. I didn't know at that time whether I would get in or what I would be doing,
Hmm.
or what type of programs I'd get into. And the interview process is pretty involved. So you submit an application, you have to submit it through the school, and your school can only submit, I think, 2 to 3 applications per school that is like partnered with the Luce Foundation or like in the Luce like eligible universities.
Hmm.
So like there's some internal, I don't want to say competition, but there's an internal application process where you submit the application material that you would submit to Luce, and the university fellowships office or whoever sort of sponsors it decides, all right, we're going to send these 2 or these 3 applications. So like I did that. I had to like sort of get, I had to sort of get past that gate.
Hmm.
So I'm glad that somehow I did. Then after that, I sort of um, had to be selected for a semifinal interview by the Luce Foundation, where they sort of go through the applications and they decide they're trying to figure out, oh, will this person be a good fit for this fellowship? And if they have sort of a good feeling about it, they'll schedule you for an hour-long interview with somebody, either somebody from the Luce Foundation or somebody that is affiliated with them in some way. If you don't live in New York, they're based out of New York. So I went to the Luce Foundation office and I did that interview. And the idea is that the interviewer writes sort of a recommendation for you, in addition to your existing recommendation letters after spending like sort of an hour in conversation with you. And then based on that, they select 18 finalists, or maybe, no, 18 times 3, whatever that is.
54.
54 finalists, I think, approximately. And then these people are invited to interview on one of sort of 3 2-day events. And this was like just before COVID sort of hit in 2020. So we were all kind of gathering still. And the idea is you spend sort of the night before having a dinner with a panel of selectors that Luce has assembled. Some of them are sort of affiliates of the Luce Foundation's other programs. Some of them are former Luce scholars. Some of them are affiliated with or grantees of sort of the Luce Foundation. But the idea is that these people have some knowledge of what it takes to be a Luce scholar. They have some connection to the program. And the idea is that you have a dinner with all of them, sort of just you're introduced to them casually. And then the next day you have a series, I think of like 9 interviews, each of them half an hour long, with each of these selectors one-on-one. And then at the end of that day, you go home and they deliberate. And once they deliberate, they let you know, somebody lets you know whether you are a Luce scholar or not.
Wow.
It's a very grueling and fairly intense process. And I guess, I mean, all this to say, I found out via phone call while I was at the Fed one day. I got a call from this New York number that was from the director of the program, and he was like, "I would really love to tell you that you were selected as a Luce scholar." It was a great date. It was like a brisk February morning that day that I got the call. I just like went out at 10:30 and I took a walk for half an hour because I was like, "This is amazing. I'm excited."
Yeah.
Breathe in like the crisp New York air. Winter New York air.
Pre-COVID New York air.
Fair enough. Yeah. No mask at this time. Still, it was sort of a surreal experience, and I don't know. Obviously, like what I thought at that time is nothing like what my experience has been, but I think that's par for the course.
Right.
But yeah, that's sort of, I give you this long-winded explanation for this.
So in terms of, so you got the Luce Scholar. And so what was the program like? What was the structure of it? What was the kind of the events that were drawn out for you for the year, right?
Yeah, so I think because of COVID, everything was sort of thrown out the window very quickly. So in like normal years, I think there's sort of a sense that you meet um, with sort of the program administrators, the people that put the program together, and you try to craft a year that engages you professionally and personally in sort of the ways that you present in your application and maybe other ways that you did or didn't. It's up to you sort of in driving that conversation. So typically we'd have a conversation about like, okay, what are good candidate countries for you to go to? What aspects of the culture and language and food and professional opportunity and development are you looking to like sort of encourage in yourself and develop in yourself? And so it starts there, and you like narrow down, and you come up with like a placement country, and based on that placement country, you know, ordinarily, sort of the program administrators will actually go to Asia and go on like a sort of a tour of sorts, not not leisurely by any means, but really trying to facilitate some professional connections for you and create an opportunity that's like meaningful and engaging when you go there in a few short months. Now they weren't able to do that because of COVID, so it was a lot of sort of trying to rely on remote contacts, existing contacts. And we also didn't have a good sense of what countries were going to be open. So I actually like intended to go to Malaysia, and I spent a lot of time learning Bahasa Malaysia and Bahasa Indonesia, which are quite similar in some ways. But obviously, I'm not there right now. I'm in Korea. So I didn't wind up going, as luck would have it, just because of like we saw how the COVID situation was evolving, and so much of it was new at that time, right? We weren't sure how different countries were going to respond. We didn't know how to plan for countries' responses. Like we know now that some countries were much more sort of restrictive, and some countries were much less restrictive. And like they had different response functions, to use a economicsy. Again, you're right. The language of economics sort of just bleeds in. And it's a totally different tongue. And so we were still trying to figure out what's the policy function for each of these countries that we're considering. And usually the schedule of it is that you go, you have an orientation. Everybody gets together in New York. You have an orientation for like, I think 2 days, maybe it's a week. I honestly have no clue because we didn't have it. It was just it's like something. It's like a fantasy that we have. But we did something virtually, and then after that orientation, you literally go straight from New York to your placement country. You go to that country and you start learning the language there, and you're just sort of thrown in the deep end.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. And we sort of did not do that. We learned language online from the United States. And we sort of settled on like Korea was allowing United States citizens to come visa free if you were able to do like a 2-week quarantine in like a government facility. I think that seems like a safe option. It at least allows you to start a year in sort of the spirit of the Luce, being in Asia, being in a country where you have to learn the language, you have to learn the culture, you're sort of, it's still in that same spirit of like, you're there, figure it out. Which was an interesting experience. So I switched to like learning Korean full time. I switched out of Malaysian, like started working with some professors here, like setting up meetings with people at the Bank of Korea and other universities and things like that. In fact, one of one of our former coworkers, Dongbom Choi. Actually, I should. It's really bad. I shouldn't say his name because I know how it's pronounced. His name is pronounced Choi Dongbom,
Okay.
and I feel like I should have. Now I know that because I learned Korean.
Hmm.
Anyway, but one of our former coworkers is in Korea and works in Korea now. I met up with him and things like that. So there was just a lot of sort of energy of like being here. And then, typically we have like a mid-year meeting where all the scholars, no matter where they are, and sort of scattered around the continent, get together in one place and we meet up. And we got to do that in a limited capacity, but it was like still kind of weird with COVID and like it wasn't where we'd usually do it. We weren't able to do the things that we usually would be able to do. Um, and then usually there's also a wrap up meeting at the end, and otherwise it's sort of a free. The time is free. You budget your time. You spend it traveling to other countries. You spend it traveling within your own country.
Hmm.
You spend it working at whatever your like professional placement is. But a lot of that has sort of changed. So that's like the typical year. But this year it's been very much. There's been a lot of sort of bureaucratic uncertainty. There's been a lot of difficulty in finding formal opportunities and formal placements
Sure.
just because it's COVID. People aren't working together. They're not working in the same place. There's not much in the way of sort of creating those spaces that you would have in a normal year. So that, coupled with sort of the bureaucratic uncertainty, has made for a very different experience, and not one that's necessarily bad or better. It's not worse or better, but it's just different and something that
Hmm.
I think nobody was really prepared for. And I think that was a part that was maybe a little challenging.
See.
But now I think all of us, all the scholars are sort of have found some combination of things and ways to engage with where they are or where they're trying to go in some cases, that are valuable still.
So based on what you're able to share, what have you been working on for the past year in terms of these people that you've met up with, either with the Bank of Korea or any kind of local university, etc.?
I am working on like a project that is still like in very nascent stages, so I don't want to share too much because we're not. I don't. There's honestly not much to share, but it's sort of on climate change and labor, in sort of an interesting way. But a lot of sort of these meetings that I was trying to have with people that work in adjacent fields to what I'm interested in was a lot about sort of just understanding some like descriptive facts about the Korean economy or Korean politics or Korean society, from the time that I've been in Korea. Just because I feel like growing up in the U.S., being born and just growing up in the U.S., we collect sort of a lot of institutional detail that we use, and I think that's important and informs our understanding of the U.S. context of education, of finance, of like working conditions, companies, the way people start businesses, things like that. And obviously those things aren't necessarily universal, right? And so like asking about things like what's the home ownership rate in Korea? Like what is sort of the demographic composition? What are like political issues? Like what issues are sort of in the political discourse, and like how does politics work? Like what's the party system? Like things, asking questions like this were the purpose of those meetings. They were interested in what do these like analogous systems in the U.S. look like? What does regulation look like? What does academia look like, right? Like, so even that's like a different sort of it's a different environment. So that was like sort of the exchange that was sort of happening. Um, and because of it, I feel like I have like a 10,000 foot view of Korean society is. Like obviously I'm only living here
Mm-hmm.
for a short period of time, and I've only lived here for a short period of time. But in that time, I feel as if I've been able to gather some detailed information about this is some of like the interesting features or the unique features of Korean society or the Korean economy or Korean history.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been sort of like the direction I've headed, and I fully I have research ideas, but nothing that I think are worth talking about yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's it's a lot of how like the research process works is that you have sort of an idea that you like you pick at and you prod and you massage and you see like, okay, how does this feel, and you wait to see if it takes root, and if it takes root then you water it, you tend to it, and it grows.
Right.
But not everything is going to take root, not every seed is going to sprout. So right now they're just seeds that I've sown. We'll see if they hold up.
Though. You're welcome. Before we leave off, though, I have a very I like to play a game with my guests, and normally it's a Q&A kind of game, but today, seeing how you are a Luce scholar and you're very immersed in other cultures and whatnot, I thought we'd play a little language game.
Oh my god. I'm really worried.
No need to be
You're gonna put me
nervous.
on blast.
No, I'm not putting you on blast. So
Also, just so you know, Kevin, this and you might find this interesting. I've been prepping to leave to Taiwan actually at some point for the rest of my Luce year, and I've been learning Mandarin. So that's my third language that I've been studying this Luce year, which is very unconventional, but I'm excited. Languages have been a big part of the last year for me. So
perfect. So this game works
you chose
perfect
the
for
perfect
you.
game. Yeah.
So how this game will work is I give you a word and you try to translate the word into as many languages as you know. Okay?
Oh my god.
No, there's no pressure. It's honestly
Okay.
At any rate, it's kind of like, oh, can I beat my record for the previous word, you know? So
All right. Okay. We'll
so,
see. We'll see.
First word is very easy. Hello.
Hello. Hello, English. 안녕, Korean. 你好, Mandarin. Vanakkam, Tamil. Hola, Spanish. Bonjour, French. I don't think I'm gonna beat this one. I'm pulling out stuff that I won't even know. Namaste, Hindi. Sat Sri Akal, Punjabi. Okay, that's 8. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all I got.
You go with 8.
Oh wait. Selamat selamat pagi, Indonesian.
Awesome.
There we go.
Okay, so you're with 9 for that one. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Second word is hat.
Oh my god. I don't think I know that in any of the languages that I just said. Wait. Oh god. Oh my gosh. Hat. I don't know it in Korean, that's for sure. I don't know it in Mandarin. In Tamil, it's topi. Tamil is my mother tongue.
Okay.
In Hindi, it's similar. It's topi. That's it.
Okay. That's fine.
Hat.
That's pretty
3.
good. So third word is water.
Water. Water, English. Agua, Español. Air putih. Air in Bahasa Indonesia. Mul, which is in Korean.
Mm-hmm.
Shui in Mandarin. What else am I missing? Tanni in Tamil. Pani in Hindi.
Cool.
Okay, that's not bad.
That's
7.
pretty
Okay,
good.
all
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was, I
Sorry,
was
hat was a very hard word. I apologize for that.
no no, no. I feel like I should know what hat is in most languages. Like that's not a difficult thing to know.
Fourth word is spring.
Spring, like the season.
Yes.
Oh my god, I don't even. How do I say it in? Oh jeez. Oh my god. So, 夏天 isn't spring, right? It's summer, right?
Yes, that's summer.
Yeah. Dang it. This is terrible. I don't even think I know it in like Tamil or Hindi, which I
Okay.
like. Spring. I know how to say winter in Korean. Gyul.
Girl, okay. Why don't we just name seasons? Name seasons in any language you know.
That's gonna be the only one.
Okay,
It's so
okay.
bad.
No worries.
Musim semi is what it is in Bahasa Indonesia. Musim semi.
For spring.
There we go. I got for spring. Yes,
Okay.
I got one.
Okay, great.
At least one.
All right. Fifth word, rice.
Rice. Okay, wait. Is it uncooked rice? Is it cooked rice? Either one is fine.
Either is fine.
Ah. Okay, Indonesia. It is nasi if it's cooked, beras if it's uncooked. In Tamil, it's arisi if it's uncooked. It's sadam if it is cooked. In certain dialects of Hindi, it is bhat. In Punjabi, I think it's chawal. Rice. Spanish is arroz. Mandarin, it's fen.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what the uncooked name for the uncooked rice is. I know it's different, but I don't know.
I don't even know. So
Did I hit everything? Oh,
Korean.
pop. Korean, pop.
okay.
Important. Pop is very important in Korea.
All right. Next word, happy.
Happy. Ooh. Happy. Happy. In Mandarin, it's gaoxin.
All close. The pronunciation is gaoxing.
It's wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, you
Gaoxing.
had the right idea. Yeah.
Tones are wrong.
Yeah, tones
sorry.
are wrong, but the yeah.
Gaoxing, fourth tone?
Yes.
四声. 四声吗?
Yes.
Okay. 高兴. In Tamil, it's santosham. Santosham. Man, this is bad. My Korean should be better. Because I know I think it's 행복. 행복.
Okay.
하다. Although we don't quote me on that. Okay. Let's count it as a half.
Okay.
Oh, I think I have wait. Hang on. I had happiness written here. Let's see if I was right. Yes! 행복! I was right!
Okay.
Let's go. 행복. 행복하다. It means to be happy.
Okay.
And yeah. I don't know what it is in Spanish, which is not good because I studied it.
There's multiple ways. I think it's like contento or like I think that's the only way. That's how I learned it. But I mean, my Spanish is so bad. Like it's been so long since I learned it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, I should know it in Bahasa Indonesia. Yeah.
Okay.
This is teaching me I need to brush up on the
No,
languages
no,
that
no.
I've
You're
been.
doing great. You're doing great. Like being able to say some of these words in multiple languages is already crazy good. So don't knock yourself. Final word is goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay. Mandarin. 再见.
Hmm.
In Korean, you either say 안녕히 가세요 아니면 or 안녕히 계세요.
Hmm.
So that's good. In Hindi it's the same. Namaste. When you're leaving, when you say goodbye, in Tamil you say "poitu which basically means I'll go and come, meaning I will leave and come back. Um, what else? In Bahasa Indonesia, you say bertemu nanti, which means I'll meet you later.
Hmm.
Um, I think that's a lot of them, right?
Yeah, that's most of
Adios.
them.
Adios.
Okay.
Español.
Nice. See, you didn't do too bad. There's no reason to be nervous.
Yeah. Okay.
I,
It was
I
just
threw in some hard
being
words. So
no. It was reasonably. That was a reasonable set of words. That was fun though. I like that.
but yeah, no, thank you for playing that game. Before we actually leave, do you have anything you want to plug? So any social media, any website, etc.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm on Twitter. The handle is V Shivram V. So it's VSHIVRAM as in Mary V, bookended by V's. My first name. And my website isn't live yet, but I should be live soon at vshivram.com. And hopefully this will be a kick in the butt for me to actually get my website together before you post this episode. So hopefully it'll be live by the
All right.
time you post this.
Yeah, but anyways, thank you so much once again for being on the show. And for all the listeners out there, hope you enjoyed what Shivram has to say, or Shiv, what he has to say. And hopefully you learned something about him and learned maybe something about social sciences as well today. As always, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Social Science Kaleidoscope. I will hope to catch you all next time. Bye bye.